Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering your salary lost half its value overnight. Not because someone stole it, not because the bank failed, but because money itself stopped performing its only job. Yesterday, it stored value. Today, it doesn't. People rush into stores, not because they need more food, but because tomorrow everything will cost more. Businesses stop planning. Workers demand higher wages. Investors abandon the currency. Banks struggle to function. The economy enters a strange new reality. Money still exists, but trust does not. Most people believe hyperinflation happens because governments print too much money. That explanation is incomplete. Printing money is often the symptom, not the disease. The deeper story begins much earlier, inside incentives, inside confidence, inside the invisible architecture holding an entire monetary system together. Because every currency on Earth depends upon one fragile resource: belief. Today, we decode how hyperinflation destroys even the most powerful nations, not from the outside, but from within.
A banknote has almost no intrinsic value. It is paper, ink, security features, nothing more. Its purchasing power comes from an invisible agreement, a shared belief that someone else will accept it tomorrow. Money is not valuable because governments declare it valuable. Money becomes valuable because millions of people voluntarily participate in the same system. Every purchase reinforces that trust. Every paycheck reinforces that trust. Every investment reinforces that trust. The monetary system resembles a bridge. It carries enormous weight, not because of appearances, but because its structure remains intact. Trust performs the same role for money. As long as confidence remains, the system functions. People save, businesses invest, banks lend, markets expand. But once confidence begins to fracture, the architecture changes. And when enough participants begin questioning tomorrow, today's money rapidly loses meaning.
Governments rarely choose hyperinflation. They drift toward it, usually during periods of extraordinary stress: wars, debt crises, political instability, economic collapse. Tax revenues decline, expenses continue rising, borrowing becomes increasingly difficult. Eventually, leaders confront an uncomfortable decision: reduce spending, raise taxes, default on obligations, or create new money. Printing currency appears painless. No immediate tax increase, no visible spending cuts, no political confrontation. At first, the solution seems to work. Bills are paid, programs continue, liquidity returns. But systems remember incentives. As the money supply expands faster than economic production, prices begin adjusting, confidence begins weakening. The invisible contract holding the currency together slowly deteriorates. Not because paper changed, because expectations changed.
The most dangerous stage of hyperinflation is psychological. People stop asking, "What can I buy?" They begin asking, "How quickly can I spend?" Money accelerates through the economy, not because prosperity increased, because confidence disappeared. Businesses increase prices. Suppliers demand advance payments. Workers negotiate wages more frequently. Consumers stockpile goods. Banks shorten lending horizons. Investors seek alternative stores of value. Every participant behaves rationally, yet collectively, their actions accelerate the collapse. Economists sometimes describe this as a velocity problem. Architects recognize something deeper. The system has entered a feedback loop. Falling confidence produces rising prices. Rising prices produce even lower confidence. The architecture begins amplifying itself until eventually, money no longer functions as a store of value or a unit of account. It survives only as a rapidly depreciating medium of exchange.
Many people assume large economies cannot experience monetary collapse. History suggests otherwise. Economic size creates resilience, not immunity. Military strength cannot force confidence. Political influence cannot manufacture trust. Industrial capacity cannot guarantee monetary stability, because money ultimately depends upon voluntary belief. Every superpower throughout history relied on systems larger than itself: trade, credit, production, confidence. When those systems weaken, size merely slows the process. It does not eliminate it. This is why architects pay attention to incentives rather than prestige. Prestige reflects the past. Incentives shape the future. The question is never, is this nation powerful? The better question is, does the monetary architecture continue reinforcing confidence? Because once that architecture reverses, decline often accelerates faster than expected.
Hyperinflation teaches one of the most important lessons in economics. Money is not wealth. Money is a claim on wealth. Real wealth exists elsewhere. Factories, technology, infrastructure, natural resources, human knowledge, productive businesses. The currency merely coordinates exchange. When coordination fails, production eventually suffers as well. Not because people forget how to create value, because the system connecting producers begins collapsing. This distinction changes everything. Architects understand that protecting wealth is not simply about accumulating currency. It is about understanding the architecture supporting that currency. Because currencies change, monetary regimes change, economic orders change, but productive systems continue generating value long after individual currencies disappear. The greatest mistake people make during inflation is focusing only on prices. Prices are symptoms. Trust is the system. Most people see expensive groceries. Architects see deteriorating monetary confidence. Most people see currency depreciation. Architects see changing incentives. Most people study banknotes. Architects study institutions. Because institutions determine credibility, and credibility determines whether money continues functioning tomorrow. The lesson is not to fear every increase in inflation. The lesson is to understand where confidence comes from, how confidence is maintained, and what gradually erodes it. The strongest economies are not those that print the most money. They are those that preserve the trust supporting their monetary architecture. Because once trust disappears, printing more currency cannot restore it. Only rebuilding the system can. Most people study money. The architect studies belief.
because belief is the invisible infrastructure supporting every financial transaction on Earth. And wealth is never protected by owning the largest stack of paper. It is protected by understanding the systems that give paper meaning. This is Nexera, decoding systems, architecting wealth.